Welcome back to Outmaneuver. We're here today with a special video. Thank you to FFG for giving us a spoiler for the upcoming Star Wars Unlimited set. We've got here Mas Amida.
Woo! So Mas Amida is another, they must play a channel theme. It's a 0-4. Just want to point that one out, FFG. Although 0-4s for us. No, but Mas Amida is a 2-cost ground unit, double command, Republic official, I think is an important keyword. And it says, when you play another unit, you may exhaust this unit. If you do, search the top 4 cards of your deck for a unit, reveal it, and draw it. And it's a rare. So, super cool. If you don't know who Mas Amida is, this is the blue guy that stands next to Palpatine when he goes through his whole speech. He's around Palpatine a lot. It's like Palpatine's like right-hand man, but not really his right-hand man because he doesn't really know what's happening, I don't think. But maybe I forget if he actually knows what's going on, like the true things for Palpatine. But he's like his like right-hand man in the Senate. If you watch the actual movie, you'll see a lot of him, or the Clone Wars. So, Duder, what do you think about the card?
I like the card. Obviously, it's not a card that I generally will be playing because I'm not usually a slower kind of a player. But a 0-4 is pretty hard to deal with on turn 1 and even turn 2. So in my mind, I feel like this card is almost always going to be drawing at least one card. And as Faith has pointed out before we started recording, a really good turn 2 play to follow up after Mas Amida is Emperor's Royal Guard.
Yep.
Because Amida is an official, so he will trigger the Sentinel for the Royal Guard. He also just played a unit, so you can go search for another unit. And now he's behind the Sentinel, which means unless they do a targeted removal, he's not going to die anytime soon. Which means he's probably going to draw another card. And if you're able to play a Sentinel the following turn, well, this dude's going to be sticking around forever, drawing all the cards ever.
Yeah, I think he slides very nicely into a Palpatine deck, specifically for that reason. I know a lot of Palpatine decks are already playing double green, so this is just like, oh yeah, I will also now play this because whenever I play a unit, I will be able to draw a card. Oh, and if I want to kill off a unit, I can then draw more cards. That sounds amazing. I'm just going to have all the cards, and it'll be good, and I will win the game because I have all the cards. Yeah, I think that this guy could be really good. I don't see him being played much outside of Palpatine. Potentially, I guess if there's like a Hera deck double green, potentially, because we got a Sabine last week, so we could be seeing some more Hera action going on. But yeah, I think that Palpatine definitely loves this card, which makes sense because Set 1 Palpatine, because this guy is obviously pairing alongside him, so that's great news.
So one thing that just to know about this card, one of the positives is when you play another unit, that is not requiring you to play a unit from your hand. So you can do things like when you search from a Vader and you're playing it from your deck, that second unit, you could trigger it then. Or with something like Palpatine's Return, you can also, that plays a unit from your graveyard, from your discard pile. And so any card that's playing a unit, no matter where it comes from, whether it's from the hand or another source, you get to use that trigger. The downside is in order to do the actual effect, you have to exhaust Moss. And the problem with that is turn 1, great. You play Moss and he's on the field and he readies in the next turn. But if you are at the point where you have like 8 resources open, especially a Palpatine deck could have that realistically, if you just play this, you can't play another unit and then get that search effect. You actually have to wait until the next turn until it readies.
Yeah.
So just something to know, one positive and one concern about the card.
I do think any double green deck that's looking to play a longer style of game will be interested in playing this card because it's straight card advantage, right? Like worst case scenario is it's going to draw you a card and prevent 4 damage from your base most of the time, I think, right? And like that's pretty good for 2, right? Am I wrong? Or
yeah, I think it's pretty good.
One thing I don't think we mentioned was the subtitle, Vice Chair. So that is referring to J-Rod's point about him being the right-hand man of Palpatine.
Yeah, so let's dive into Mas Amida's lore for a minute here. He is a Chagrian, and the Chagrians are known to be unbribable. They can't be corrupted, and they are very positive and friendly species. So when you have a Chagrian by your side, you are thought to be those things as well, which is the reason why Palpatine chose him to be his vice chair, which I think is a very obviously intelligent and interesting lore aspect to Maz Amedda here, which I didn't know until we had the spoiler and did some research on him. So that was pretty cool to find out.
Well, you can look for Maz Amedda in Twilight of the Republic, which is going to come out on November 8th as an expansion for Star Wars Unlimited.
Absolutely. And thanks again to FFG and all of you guys that watch the podcast. We're excited to hopefully bring you some new content when Twilight gets a little closer to release as well. So stay tuned. We're ramping up again. So thanks everyone for checking us out and subscribing and watching the videos either here on YouTube or on Spotify or any other podcast area.
Yep. Cheers, everybody.